I'm Nimish Patel, Vice President of Global Alliances here at FourKites, and today I'm proud to have with me Rob Schaefer from Manhattan. Rob, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little background?
Sure. I'm the Vice President of TMS Sales at Manhattan. I've been with the company for exactly 3 years. Been in the industry for probably about 20 overall, and I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate it. Well, Rob, why don't we jump right into this? So, for the past few years, you've been hearing a lot of buzz around Manhattan Active Platform Solutions. Can you tell us a little more about what that means?
Sure. So years ago, Manhattan had the foresight, once cloud became prevalent, to want to be able to take advantage of the full promise of the cloud, right? And in doing so, they looked at the existing product set in the existing platform and realized, you know what, we need to re-architect this to actually be able to take advantage of that promise. So the Active Cloud actually started, our development started back in 2014, and we've been releasing products on that platform over the years. But it's a microservices-based architecture. And what that allows for is scalability. It allows for extensibility, which is almost unheard of in the cloud, right? So a customer can customize the product, or we could customize it for you, another word for extension. But it survives those quarterly updates that we provide, right? So it's a versionless piece of software. Our clients will always be on the latest version using the latest technology. All of our updates are done on a quarterly basis, and we do that with zero downtime. That's almost unheard of. I believe we're probably the only enterprise supply chain software company that has zero downtime during updates. And that really helps so that customers aren't doing a tremendous amount of testing every time they get an update. I will never say people shouldn't test, but it's minimized because of that microservices architecture, because we're only adding functionality to the individual microservice that we want to affect.
Got it. That makes sense. And look, I mean, as you said, I'm sure that's taken a lot of years of development. It's not an easy task. And all of what you said really leads to agility. And so, look, in today's volatile market, how are you guys making or allowing supply chain leaders to become more nimble then?
Again, kind of going back to the platform itself. Traditionally, clients would have applications in silos. You might have a WMS application, you might have an order management application, you might have a TMS application. They generally don't really talk to each other except through an ERP system, right? So while functionally they provide benefit, they don't necessarily provide the visibility and the efficiency that an application could provide if it was a single application without integration. And what I mean by that, a good example of that is when we released transportation management, we decided to make that one and the same with our warehouse management. The reason being is traditionally those two applications would be integrated through ERP. And that builds false cutoff times, lag of information. Also, generally it's two different vendors providing that software. You've got different update schedules, all those sorts of things. When a WMS and a TMS are together, we are now sharing information instantaneously. A distribution worker and a transportation planner are seeing the same information at the exact same time. And what that does is, it not only promotes efficiency, but it promotes visibility within the business itself, to be able to see what's going on, to be able to react within that application immediately, and to be able to take care of whatever disruption may happen to arise.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I think interoperability within your own platform is crucial for customers to take the most advantage, like you said, of the data as it passes through the workflow. So you kind of talk about breaking down the walls between these systems. Kind of expand upon that as we think about breaking down the walls as you externalize data or connect. most TMSs say that, hey, they do visibility. Define kind of what Manhattan does from a visibility standpoint internally, and then really how does FourKites play into that picture as well?
Sure. Visibility means a lot of things to a lot of different people, and we have multiple ways to provide that visibility, right? So traditionally, we can connect to carriers or vendors via EDI, AS2, right? A little bit more traditional. We have a carrier portal. We have a mobile application, but there are clients that want more than that, right? They want more of a real-time feel to the visibility they get. They want it to be actionable. This new Active platform is an API integration first type thing. So, a client who's using an offering such as yours, who's looking for that more robust information, is also getting beyond just the visibility of where is my product in motion. they were also kind of getting the analysis of how does that lane perform, right? So oftentimes a shipper will look at their own data, trying to figure that out. But pulling information in from someone like FourKites allows them to look at performance data on a particular lane that is across shippers using the same carriers. And that's far more valuable than just the information they can get from their own shipment history.
Got it. No, and I'm glad that's a good segue to what I was going to ask next. As you talk about, there's more use cases than just feeding ETAs, right? With Manhattan, again, with this active solution and playing in the WMS space and every other kind of arena, what are some of the opportunities that customers probably aren't realizing that visibility can help them with within the kind of the portfolio solutions you guys do?
So in a solution such as ours, right, where TMS and WMS are a single application, we'll leverage the data that's coming from you, let's say on inbound. And so the TMS, and by default the WMS, given it's a single application, can understand where those inbound shipments are in transit. Are they on time? Are they going to be late? In turn, again, a distribution user or a transportation planner can amend the appointment schedule, maybe the dock door schedule, definitely the labor management component in the warehouse in terms of scheduling labor based upon shipments that have been canceled or are going to be running late, as well as on the outbound side, right, and making customers downstream aware of, you know, when is this going to arrive, or there has been a disruption, right? It's always good to deliver bad news versus no news at all, right? So having that visibility is key. On the other hand, there's additional information that comes from getting information from FourKites, and that is, you know, you go through the transportation procurement process, right? And today that's becoming more important because at first it was digital freight brokers and spot bids, rates are crazy, nobody could, you know, fill loads. That has calmed down, and more people are focused on, okay, I want to get contracted rates into the system for as long as I potentially can. Well, bringing information in from a FourKites helps do that carrier scorecarding. How do these carriers perform on these particular lanes? And again, across a richer set of data potentially, right? So there's that kind of planning side with procurement and working with your carriers, as well as working with your customers and letting them know ETAs, as well as making the warehouse more efficient by feeding them transportation data that they can see through their warehouse management system and be able to do things they need to do more efficiently.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's an end-to-end value across the supply chain, right? Not just siloed to certain groups. No, it makes sense. So I guess net, I guess, what makes this partnership between FourKites and Manhattan so valuable to you?
You know what, partnership, it's a buzzword, right? It comes down to, first of all, relationship, right? So you and I have a good relationship. Manhattan and FourKites has a good relationship. And that's extremely important because FourKites is always building new offerings, right, and trying to do better for their customers. Manhattan's trying to do the same thing, but when we have a good relationship, we can do those things together. We can understand what's on your roadmap and how we might be able to take advantage of it. Same thing from your side, right? So I think that relationship thing is extremely important. The other thing that's important is the investment in the platform. You have a modern platform. I've already described our modern platform, right? And what that allows is for the customer to be nimble, to accept the new offerings that we come up with, right? You know, the old days would be in a development cycle when we would release an update once a year. Customer may or may not accept that because it was on-prem. They'd get 4 versions behind, all those sorts of things. Today's world, that doesn't work. So with both our modern platforms, we're constantly innovating and we're immediately delivering that innovation to our customers. And lastly is that customer focus, right? None of us work in a vacuum. So we're looking at where the market's going, not only towards shippers and vendors, but also the technology platforms, AI, machine learning, all those sorts of things. And we're trying to figure out, you know, what are the ideas we have to use that information? What are the ideas that our customers have for using that information, right? And constantly building back into the product itself, and again, being able to release those things on a 90-day cycle.
I like it. Yeah.
That's what's important to us.
Good. Sounds like relationship, transparency, innovation, right? Everything our customers are looking or expecting, at least, from the vendors they work with.
Absolutely.
So, good. Well, Rob, I appreciate you taking the time today. Look forward to the partnership as always, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, it was great to be here.
Thank
Thanks.
you.